Everyone. This is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist, toxic job survivor, and I'm here with Marissa Price today. We have decided to do, it really wasn't scheduled live today, following the unfortunate death of Dr. Antionette Bonnie Candia-Bailey. So I want to give a trigger warning for this discussion. We will be talking about suicide and the most recent death by suicide of Dr. Candia-Bailey. And so we want to first start off and give our condolences to Dr. Candia-Bailey's family, friends, and the Lincoln University family and community. Very, very sorry to hear about her passing. And so we wanted to come on. We've seen a lot of social media postings on LinkedIn, Instagram, and just, a lot of people are really very concerned and worried. And I've seen and heard so many Black women talking about, feeling like they've had these experiences of suicidal thoughts. So we decided to come on today to have a conversation about a very difficult but very needed topic. Okay. So again, we're going to be talking about suicidal ideation, suicidal behaviors. If this is something that is difficult for you to hear, please don't watch this video. Okay. So also want to share with you, as we will be sharing throughout the video, about resources. So some of the resources from the beginning, let's just start with that. So if you are experiencing any suicidal thoughts, you and or someone you know, please go to your nearest hospital emergency room. Okay. You can also call 911 and let them know that this is a mental health emergency. There's also the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. You can dial and or text 988. Okay. So I'm going to have Marissa introduce herself and we're getting right to the conversation. So Marissa, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Marissa Price. I am a social worker, healer, online business educator dedicated to supporting Black women and growing digital businesses, specifically to get out of toxic work environments, which is how I originally started it. But yes, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And Marissa did a really, really good video talking about this as well. So we're going to put that in the description section. So what we thought we were going to do was just frame the discussion in terms of, at first, again, giving honor to Dr. Candia-Bailey, and to have an open conversation about, again, something that we don't really talk about that much in our community, but it's an issue we cannot ignore. We cannot talk about it. And so yesterday I was being interviewed by Dr. RJ, and she was asking me about toxic jobs. And I was mentioning to her that, the extreme can be, having thoughts of hurting yourself. And this was before I even knew about Dr. Candia-Bailey. So at the end of my workday yesterday, I received a text and I saw this and I've been heartbroken about this. I'm very, very saddened about this. So again, we are here to share information so that you will be informed, so that you are recognizing some of the signs and you know what to do. Okay. So Marissa, if we could start the conversation in terms of workplace, both of you and I and Colette Elizabeth, we all talk about Black women in toxic jobs and the devastation because we're all toxic job survivors. Oh, and we have Nicole Vick joining us as well.
Oh, yes.
Oh, how are you?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Nicole, we were just starting. So if you can give if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nicole Vick, a public health professional and a doctoral candidate. Woohoo! And a social justice expert. And I guess that's about it.
You're all that and so much more. All that and so much more. And I just want to say to everyone that Nicole posted a video today. Actually, it was a video, and it was very touching. And when I looked at that video, I reached out to Nicole because Nicole was a previous guest on my channel, and I reached out to her last minute, and I was like, Nicole, can you be a part of this conversation? So I'm so glad that you were able to join. And we're also going to focus on the what to do, right? So Nicole, right now, we're starting to talk about toxic work environments, workplace bullying. What are some of the signs? Because we want Black women to be aware of what are some of the signs so that you are not kind of saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal, or I got this. It's not right? Because this stuff kind of builds up on us, okay? So, Marissa, if you could start with what are some of the signs, like the physical, psychological signs that a workplace is harmful for you? Like, what are some of the red flags? Let's start there. What are some of the red flags? Like, watch out, girl. This is not a good situation. Let's start with the red flags, and then we'll talk about the physical and psychological symptoms.
Sure. And I think the interesting thing for me, and from what I've heard, I'm working on my dissertation. So I've been talking to a lot of people about their experiences in the workspace. Is that for a lot of people, a lot of us, it,
Mhm,
it starts actually with us. We feel it before anything else. Like, why
mhm,
does my stomach hurt? Why
mhm,
do I have gas? Why
mhm,
am I burping? Are my sleep patterns changing? So sometimes I think for us, we feel it before we even can conceptualize the thing that is happening. And
mhm.
that's usually our first signal. Like, dang, do you have dread on Sunday?
Ooh,
Are you not sleeping well? Those are usually a sign that something is going on. Other signs, being given more work,
mm,
or getting work taken away from you. Like, wait, before I was doing this, and now all of a sudden they've reassigned. So there's a lot of signs, and I think it also just depends on what is happening in the workspace. But again, I will say a lot of times we feel it before we even recognize what's
mm.
happening to us.
Yeah, yeah. So feeling it. Marissa, can you speak more in terms of the feeling it and what are the things that we can start to recognize in the workplace? Like this is not a good situation.
hmm Yeah, for me, I will say like lack of sleep was
Mhm,
huge.
mhm,
So every time I went in, like I would just catastrophize the day before. Like you said, Nicole, the Sunday before the week was horrible.
yeah.
I would not be able to sleep. So if you're noticing yourself not being able to fall asleep, stay asleep, you find yourself waking up and thinking about what's happening in the workplace, that's a
Mhm,
huge sign, right? That
mhm,
you're being harmed.
mhm,
And also for me, my appetite went away. And also it
mm,
got to a point where I really wasn't able to take down water like I
mm.
used to be. So these
Wow.
are like huge signs that your body is telling you you need to leave this environment because it's harming you, right? It's
Yes.
not able to function as it should.
Yeah.
And you need to leave that environment as soon as possible. It's serious.
Yeah.
I think another thing too, I'll say really quick, and after this, I have to kind of step off.
Okay.
Another thing that I've heard of is you start to replay certain incidents, like you kind of do this mind loop, and you can't get it out of your head. Like,
Yeah.
this thing happened to me, and it's just like it just kind of keeps like a replay.
Yeah.
Um, and the trauma and that feeling of dread too. I remember hearing about that dread is also really, really big. So if I step off and go away, it's because I gotta go. But this is a great conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you popping in, Nicole. Okay. Okay. So, initial reports have come out about what happened with Dr. Candia-Bailey. And so we're just going off the initial reports. Okay. So we know more information will probably be coming out. And so we're speaking about the initial reports. So the initial reports talked about the workplace bullying that she was experiencing. And Marissa, can you share with the audience what you just shared with me earlier before we went on about a quote that was stated in terms of what she said about the workplace?
Yeah, I was reading an article. I think she had mentioned to one of her friends, this job isn't going to kill me,
Mm,
right? Which you talk about a lot about on your channel. Like,
mhm,
this job isn't going to kill me. And I did
mhm.
the video that you referenced. The job isn't worth your life.
Yeah.
But it's like those signs, a lot of the times we'll kind of downplay those signs because we're so used to just keeping our head down, working even harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking on more tasks, which is what I
Mm-hmm.
did,
Mm-hmm.
to try to make things feel a little bit better, and you end up feeling worse, and you end up spiraling even quicker. So when you
Yeah.
start to recognize those physical signs, that means you're being harmed, right?
Yes.
And there are other places for you to work. There are other options that exist. You don't have to stay and get rooted even deeper in a toxic job, a toxic system that
Yeah.
exists at the workplace.
Yeah. And Marissa, you made reference to something that I know I talk about too a lot is that spiral, right? So that
Yes.
spiral is, things are starting to happen. And Nicole was saying you feel it in your body. Like you
hmm
start having symptoms, you're like, what's this about? But the
Yes.
spiral is, and I think a lot of times as Black women, we've been conditioned to make it work. We always make
hmm
it work, right?
It's
So
true.
we can see things kind of getting out of control, and we're like, okay, I got this, I'm going to do this. Then we work harder and harder and harder. But what we
Yes.
don't recognize is that as we are doing that, we are experiencing more harm. And
Mm-hmm.
then we get caught up in this helplessness, hopelessness spiral, right? So I
Yes.
remember reading also about Dr. Candia-Bailey, in which she talked about, or she reported, experiencing severe depression and anxiety. And
Yes.
the institution did not take it seriously. So some of the other signs and symptoms, in addition to the physical, that dread, like we just talked about, right? That Sunday just
Mm-hmm.
devastating feeling,
Right.
and that sense of depression. Let's talk a little bit more about the depression, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
depression can look like dread. It can look like doubting your own self-worth. It can
Yes.
be an anxiety too, along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be able to find anything else.
Mm-hmm. Feeling
No,
stuck.
I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
I view myself, how other people view me is in relation to my job, that I have a
Yes.
duty, a commitment to help other people by staying in this job. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very layered, right? And so when I think about what Dr. Candia-Bailey went through, she was asking for help, and
Yeah.
and they didn't help her. They didn't help her.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading about, she requested support, and then I think the board of directors or something was like, we don't get involved in these issues. So Black women, if you're watching this right now and you are experiencing symptoms and you reach out for help and certain
Right.
people are not there to support you, we're here to talk about ways to get help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe certain people are not there to help you, but we're going to talk about how to get help. Marissa, can you share a little bit more about when you were in that helpless, hopeless spiral? What
Yeah.
did that look like? Because I want Black women to know, to hear, what does it look
Mm-hmm.
like, so they can be aware of it, like, oh, wait, pause, I'm in trouble, I need to get some help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you share with them, what was that like when you were in that spiral? What was that experience like for you? What were some of the signs and symptoms?
I think feeling like the life was drained out of me every
Mm,
day when I woke up, that was huge.
yeah.
I started having like pains in my body because your body knows,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Your body knows what you're experiencing, even if you don't have the words for it.
Yeah.
That's important to tap in to how are you feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling when you're in a meeting and somebody says something disrespectful and then it kind of, you get that burning in your chest. It's like, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. And then we carry that through. If we're
Yeah.
not able to process that in a safe place, we carry that through and it impacts everyone around us.
True. True.
Um, so that's real. That's real. I'm trying to think of other things like, yeah, sleeplessness was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of appetite. And I know that anxiety and depression shows up differently in Black
Mm-hmm.
women sometimes, and it often goes overlooked,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Can you
So
talk about
feelings
some of
of,
the ways it might show up for us and how it might be overlooked?
so some of the things I'm thinking about, the word escapes me now, but kind of being on edge a
Yes.
lot, being like short tempered
Uh-huh.
with people.
And which is labeled as the angry Black woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, the
Mm-hmm.
stereotype. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But oftentimes that's anxiety and depression,
Yeah.
right? That's how it
Absolutely.
manifests. So if you're finding yourself being short tempered, if you're finding yourself being short with the people around you, your family members,
Mm-hmm.
um, it might be, a sign to probe deeper into what's going on in your environment. What are
Yeah.
you experiencing? Because we spend so much of our lives at work,
Yeah.
right? And we're taught to just be, workhorses a
Yes.
lot, as Jackie Abrams says, right? So checking in, how is this impacting you? What
Mm-hmm.
are the physical signs? Um, and that's key. That's key to begin recognizing that you need to leave that environment. I think that's pretty much like the bottom line, right? You
Yeah.
can't stay in a toxic job and thrive
No. Because the
and have your
toxin,
well-being
the
supported.
poison's going to get into your system. It's going to
Yeah.
hurt you some kind of way. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. So before we talk about like some of the risk and the warnings and the resources, I want us to talk a little bit more about workplace bullying, because I think there's some misperceptions about workplace bullying. And I think on some level, some people think, oh, well, you just need to fight harder, or don't let them run you out, or anything like that. But I think what people misunderstand is that when workplace bullying happens, there's a power dynamic. And it's not like you could just tell the person off, because more than likely the workplace bully, everybody knows their workplace bully. So they may be in a so-called leadership position, but those above them know that they're bullying you. So you really have no recourse. Just like Dr. Candia-Bailey, she tried to get help and nobody was there to help her. And so workplace bullying, it's not just one person. Okay. So I see a lot of articles and things talking about ousting the president. I know nothing about what's going on at Lincoln University. Okay. But what I'm saying is, when things like that happen, usually that's a reflective of a toxic system. It's not just that one person. So I want us to be mindful of that when we think about workplace bullying. It's not just an easy fix of, oh, let's just, or why didn't you just, or it's very, very complicated because you're not getting any support. So just think about that you're going through, you're having all these symptoms and there's nobody there to support you. You are completely alone. Okay. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some of the, I call it the yellow light and the red light symptoms. Okay. So the yellow light symptoms are, girl, pay attention to this. This is like a warning kind of thing. Like, be careful. You're approaching the red light, right? And then the red light. Okay. So let's talk about some things. So Black women who are watching us right now can start identifying, wait, I think I'm in the yellow zone, right? I think I need to get some help, meaning maybe I need to go into therapy. Maybe I need to start looking at exit strategies out of this job, right? So what are some of the yellow signs, yellow zone things, Marissa, that maybe you've heard about or maybe that you've experienced?
I think that sense of dread is huge.
Yeah.
So if you're finding yourself not even wanting to go to work, to log on to your laptop, if the thought of it just kind of, makes those feelings of fear activate within your body, feelings of stress.
Yes.
And we know that stress hormones play a big role in this too, right? The way that you respond to these environments.
Absolutely.
So that's a yellow light, and it can be a red light too, depending on what stage you're in.
Yeah.
Sleeplessness is a big one. If you find yourself waking up, thinking about it, ruminating about the job, that's a yellow light, potentially a red light. A red light, if you're having thoughts of harming yourself, right? That's a huge red light. That means you need to get out.
Immediately.
Seriously.
Immediately. Yes.
Like, it's not anything that you need to stay there and try to work with.
Yeah.
And like you said, she even reached out and stated what was happening and nothing was done.
Nothing.
So it's not always on us. And the blame is always like, why didn't you ask for help? Well, she did.
Yeah.
She did. And this is a response.
Yeah.
The red light, just you're feeling your body being drained. That's the only thing that keeps coming up for me.
It's like all the life is sucked out of your body, right? It's like
all
soul.
of it. You can't get up. You can't do anything. Any of the things that brought you joy before, you don't have any interest in them. You don't have energy to do them.
Yes.
That means that it's severely impacting you.
Yes. And I wanted to just add too, just based on my own experience, as well as what I've heard other Black women talk about in terms of the yellow zone, right? And I'll talk about the red zone. So in addition to what you were talking about is not having any energy to do anything else. You're so exhausted from the job that you have absolutely no energy. You can't remember even what gives you joy. You don't engage in anything that gives you joy. You talk about your job all the time, where everybody who knows you knows about the job. They know about the people involved in your job, all those things, right? You might be having symptoms like I've talked about before. Your hair is falling out, right? So if you go to the hairdresser, you notice your hair is falling out. You are gaining weight. You are losing weight. So Marissa, you talked about you couldn't really eat that much. You couldn't really drink. I was overeating, right? And so think about, are you eating in terms of comfort eating? Are you binge watching on TV? So think about on the weekends, are you spending your whole weekend exhausted, binge watching TV, overeating because you're trying to cope with the job? Also, this is something that I've heard from Black women many, many, many times. This is the yellow zone. You're driving to work, you're crying. You're getting to work, you're masking all day. You're leaving work, you're crying, okay? Those are yellow zones. So ladies, if you're watching this right now and any of those things resonate with you, yellow zone, okay? we are suggesting, highly suggesting that you seek therapy. Okay. So therapy provides you an opportunity to talk about what's going on with you, to identify the source of what's going on with you, helps you reality test. So Marissa and I both talk about gaslighting at jobs. We also talk
Mhm.
about how the gaslighting at your job can cause you to self-gaslight. Okay. So when you're in
Yes.
therapy, you're able to reality test with somebody like, girl, that's not you, that's them. Okay.
Hmm.
Yellow zone. So therapy, therapy, therapy. Also,
Yes, that was key.
oh
Hmm.
God. Also start thinking about, and we'll put resources in the description section for therapy. But briefly, I just want to share with you that if you have insurance, go through your insurance carrier. Ask them for therapy resources. Some
Hmm.
insurance carriers are better than others. You can ask them, I want a Black woman therapist, right? So they can look through their directory and give you people that fit what you want. Okay. Also, I have a video on my channel about how to interview a therapist because it needs to be a good fit. Okay. If you go to
Yes.
the one therapist and it doesn't work, don't say therapy doesn't work for me. Maybe that just wasn't a good fit. Okay. The other thing is the Loveland Foundation. Okay.
Yeah.
Loveland. And we'll put that in the description section. So the Loveland Foundation provides free therapy services for Black women. Okay. They give you therapy vouchers. So you pick the therapist, and the therapist is paid through the Loveland Foundation. I'm a Loveland Foundation therapist, although I'm not accepting referrals now, but a number of my clients have utilized the Loveland Foundation. Okay. The
Hmm.
other option is the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. Okay. So that is Taraji P. Henson, the actress. That is her foundation. So periodically they have campaigns where they offer free therapy services virtual. Okay. So we're telling you about 3 options in terms of therapy. That's the one part. The other
Hmm.
part is when you're in that yellow zone, that might be a good opportunity for you to pause and say, you know what? I think I want out of this job. Okay. So if that's the case, then in addition to therapy, please utilize other resources to help you get out. Okay. So my YouTube channel lists a number of resources. We have them in the
Hmm.
description section as well, because there's options for you to get out. So as Marissa said, as I say, you have options. Even though you might be in the middle of it and you feel stuck, you have options. Okay. Now, warning, red zone. Okay. So, like Marissa
Hmm.
said, you're having thoughts of hurting yourself. Okay.
Hmm.
It might be, thoughts of, it could be more of the passive, like, I wish I just never woke
Yeah.
up, to no, you're actually making plans to doing something to harm yourself. Okay. That is an absolute, you must stop immediately and get help.
Hmm.
Okay. Don't think, oh, well, I don't want to worry people, or I don't want to cause a problem. Or what about this one? I don't want to lose my pension, or I'm so close to
Hmm.
retirement, or I'm so close to this, or whatever. No,
Hmm.
you're not living. You won't be able
You
to
can't
act,
receive any of that. Right.
right? And I'm
No.
sure the people who love you, they
Hmm.
want you here. They don't care about your whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay.
Right.
They want you here. Okay. So if you are in the red zone, okay, you're having those thoughts of hurting yourself, immediately get help. Okay. That help is go to the nearest emergency room. Okay. Call 911. You let them know this is a mental health emergency. You can also call or text the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. Okay. So, again, Marissa and I want to come on very briefly. This is not a planned live. We just scheduled this morning. Okay. I saw the report last night and it was very disturbing. Okay.
Yes.
And when I
Very.
saw that, I contacted Marissa and I was like, Marissa, I want to do a video about this. Do you want to come on with me? And I'm so happy she did. Okay. So
Hmm.
again, resources are available for you. Okay. We want to
Hmm.
come on so that you are aware of signs that you might be in the yellow zone or the red zone. Okay.
Hmm.
Regardless of where you are, you need to get some support. Okay. Now, the immediacy is if you're in the red zone. Okay. So, again,
Hmm.
all these resources will be available for you in the description section. Okay.
Hmm.
So before we sign off, I am going to read the chat. Okay. To give honor to our community. And then we're going to start winding down. Okay.
And can I add something real quick? I'm
Yes. Yes.
sorry. If
Yes.
you notice you're in that yellow zone, I think taking a leave of absence, like you always
Ooh, I
say.
forgot
That's
that.
how,
Yes.
yeah. taking a leave of absence. So if you do it
Yes.
through FMLA, short-term disability, long-term disability, and states also have different laws that you can take advantage of. But yeah, just having that period to kind
Yes.
of decompress, reflect. You have the mental space to really understand what's happening to you.
Yes.
I think that's pivotal. So seeking a leave of absence if you're in
I'm
a yellow zone.
so glad you said that. That was key for me. I could not have made it if I didn't take a leave of absence. So absolutely taking a leave of absence. So in terms of the chat, I saw about President Bailey. I give my condolences, family, and people who loved her. Yes, yes, yes. This news is absolutely heartbreaking. It is. Work taken away is definitely a sign of workplace bullying. I experienced that a decade ago. So I think I'm going to do another video about this, but it's a way to strip you, right? It's a way to kind of put you in your place, right? So I'm going to start taking things away from you and makes you doubt yourself, right? Let's see. It happens. Let me see. Work taken away can be from emotional bullying, especially devastating when the Black female is leading a project. Yes, it's a way, again, like, oh, I'm going to, you think you this, right? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. It happens so many times, reaching out for help and getting shut down by the organization. Yes. Let me say this, okay? Sometimes we might seek help from organizations and they may not be there to help us, okay? Let us then take the initiative to getting help outside of the organization. And sometimes that might mean walking away. I know Colette Elizabeth said this beautifully. She said that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is just walk away. And I think for Black women, that's very hard for us because that's not how we were programmed, okay? But if it's a matter of life or death, we need to walk away. That organization, we don't owe them anything, okay?
Nothing.
This is all too real and beyond devastating. Yes, it is. Hey, I just saw a post that included these words. Beloveds, we can't let the bullies win. We can't let hate win. And we can't let haters win. Right. So walking away is taking your power back. I know that seems crazy, but if you're trying to fight, and I'm quoting Alicia Renese, right? So if you're trying to fight in a system, the system's rigged, you're not going to win. Okay, you're not going to win. So it's important for us to recognize when the system is rigged and what our options are. Okay. A Black woman minister at my former church experienced harassment from a church member. She did not get the support help she asked for. Thankfully, she left and went public with it. Good. Good. It's all kind of organizations, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My response, and I want to share that deciding to walk away does not have to mean that the bullies win. It could mean that you win. Yes, because you've taken your talents elsewhere. Exactly. They and all that were complacent lose. Yes, yes, yes. So keep in mind, okay, when I talked about toxic systems, it's not just the bully, okay? It's those who allow the bully to do what they're doing. And there's other people who are around who are watching what's happening to you and they're not saying anything. So they are complicit. Okay. So be mindful of who's complicit as well. Mantra, these people do not deserve my gifts. They do not. I love that. They do not deserve my gifts. Okay. It's the combined actions and the system that reinforces violence. Absolutely.
Yes.
I was just told about this while returning to work from FMLA after having my own issues. Yes, I'm glad you took a leave, right? If you still feel like you need support, then I hope that you are in therapy and getting that support. Okay, I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay, I left work early and then this popped up just now. I'm so thankful to both of you. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. You both helped me so much during this difficult time because I'm dealing with a workplace bully. I hear you and we're here to support you. Okay. Check out both of our channels. Both of our channels has a lot of information, a lot of resources talking about healing. Okay. Now, when we talk about healing, it's hard to heal if you're still being attacked. Okay. So try to find ways that you can get some reprieve in terms of getting away from that environment. Because if you're constantly being traumatized, it takes a toll on you, right? So we talk about toxic work environments, that toxicity gets into your system some kind of way, right? Please take care of yourself, get your ducks in a row, and get yourself out of there sooner than later. Yes, that's from Kat, and Kat has recently left her job. Congratulations, Kat.
Yes.
Congratulations. Short-term disability still get paid, and you can go to an intensive outpatient program for behavioral health treatment. Yes, there are options available to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a relatively short video compared to my normal videos. And again, I'm thankful to Marissa Price that she was available to come on today. Black women, I know that all of us are deeply hurt about what happened to Dr. Candia-Bailey. And we just want to say that, you're not alone if you're having these thoughts, that if you are having these thoughts or even something where you're in the yellow zone, pay attention to these things. Please don't ignore it because it keeps growing, right?
Right.
It escalates. Get the support you need, okay? We're going to have all the information, all the resources available to you, okay, in the description section. So access those resources, please, 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 okay? So, Marissa, any last words as we're signing off?
I'll just say you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay in an environment that's harming you, even though you may receive all these messages, all this pressure around you telling you to just stick it out, right? You don't have to stay. You can leave and you have options available to you.
Yes. And I want to again end by saying, expressing my condolences to the family and friends of Dr. Antionette Bonnie Candia-Bailey. Heartfelt condolences to all of you. And I see another comment came in. It's not worth your mental health. I went through this recently and throughout my healthcare career, right? It's not worth it, right? And I think, we're in an age right now that I think a collective number of Black women are saying enough is enough. We don't have to live like this. We're done.
No.
We're done, right? If it's leaving these toxic jobs and finding better professional opportunities, okay? I'm not telling anybody just up and leave a job without a plan, okay? Unless you're in the red zone. If you're in the red zone, girl, you need to save yourself, okay? If you're in the yellow zone, there's different options available to you, okay? So please utilize it. Oh, yes, higher ed is a brutal place. I've heard so many people talk about this, okay? And we will continue to have conversations about this, okay? So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Please share this video with other Black women. Please share this video with usually I say 2, share with as many Black women as you can, because we all need to hear this message, okay? Please share this message with other Black women. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Give this video a thumbs up because it lets YouTube know to suggest this video to other Black women. So please give this thumbs up. Share this video with at least, I would say, 4 other Black women, okay? And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, Lifting Us Through Climb Consulting Wellness Services, please do. And please subscribe to Marissa Price's channel as well, okay? So everyone be well, pay attention to the signs, and get the resources and support if you need it, okay? Okay, so we're signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.